why most students never become confident and fluent. Why achieving fluency is that much hard that even after trying so hard, even after doing so many things, 99% students are not even fluent. When a person started learning English, he has only one thought that when I'm going to be fluent, when I'm going to speak like flawlessly, when I'm going to speak like I do not putting any effort, but still I'm able to speak. Why it is so hard to get fluency for many others? Why there are only few number of people, there are only few people are able to get the fluency? Why is that? Why is that difference? So today in this class, I'm going to explain that why most of the students, they never become fluent in their life. So what are the different reasons that exist and how we can actually, not only I will talk about the reason why most of the students are not fluent, but I also try to provide you the solution that how you can be fluent. So if you want to understand that how I can be fluent English speaker, even if I do not have any background, I didn't study from English medium school, in my family nobody speak in English, and I do not belong to such a family where everyone speak English and they study in English medium school. So let's watch this video and try to understand what could be the reason. So let's have a look. Most of the time what happens, everybody actually they start learning English but they don't speak. Try to understand that if there is a one skill that you always read about, you always study, you always research, you always watch video, but you never try to do that. What happens most of the time when a person wants to learn English, he keeps learning by reading books, by studying grammar, by understanding vocabulary and everything. He also attend classes, you also watch YouTube videos. If we do not speak, how can we even expect we will be able to speak English fluently? First of all, maybe when you will be speaking, there are so many things, there are so many aspects that you would make mistakes. And that's very obvious that you have to accept. But 99% students, what they do, they actually care about that. No. First of all, I have to learn a lot. I have to understand grammar. I have to memorize vocabulary. I have to do this and then do that. Then I would be fluent. I have to be knowledgeable. I have to know lots of things. Then I would be able to speak fluently. But that is wrong. No matter where you are, no matter the level of fluency that you have, no matter what is your current level, but you have to start speaking from today. And the moment you will do that each and every day, you will get close to your fluency. You will be a little more fluent than your previous state. So the secret does not lie on knowledge or active study, but it actually depends on that how much time you are spending for speaking. Fear. Actually, fear stops our growth. When we think about judgment, we have different types of fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of judgment, fear of embarrassment, fear of, speaking in front of public. And that actually stops us. That actually stops our growth. If you're really serious about learning English, if you're really serious about getting fluency, but then you have to reduce the amount of fear you always consume in your daily life. Fear will not lead you anywhere. So that's why you have to, one way or another, you have to start thinking about, okay, this is the time not to fear. This is the time to express. This is the time to show yourself, show your ability. And even after you know that if you make mistake, still you have to reduce your fear and you have to have some courage to speak in front of the people. The number one fear that you have to keep in your mind, that is that if I do not speak, I will never grow. I will never improve my speaking skills. So that is the fear that you have, that should be existed in your mind. The other fear you have to overcome. And the other thing, most of the students, they actually do, they wait for the perfection. They wait for the time when they will be perfect. Being perfect is not the solution, is not the destination, is not the main goal of our English fluency. You don't need to wait to become perfect. You have to start speaking and ultimately it will help you to become a perfect speaker. But most of the time what happens when a person starts learning English, when a person starts consuming more English content, he started believing, oh my God, first I have to be perfect, then I could speak in English. What could happen if I make some mistake? What could happen if my pronunciation is not good? What could happen if I cannot explain it properly? What could happen if I will not be that much fluent compared to the other people? All the students, you are like my younger brother and sisters. I want to teach you just one particular principle, that whoever you are seeing as a perfect English speaker, they were not born as a confident speaker. They were not born as a perfect speaker. They started speaking, they started practicing, they started communicating, they started making conversation with others, and ultimately that reduces their mistake, that actually reduces their fear, that reduces their anxiety while talking to people. So whoever want to be a great English speaker, a fluent English speaker, don't think that I have to be perfect, then I would be speaking. You just start speaking, one day you will be perfect. So whenever you speak slowly each and every day, you improves. Your way of speaking improves. Your body language improves. Your personality improves. And that's how, after 1 year, after 6 months, you can't even recognize your past self. You can't even believe that who you were in the past and who you are right now. There would be 100% 360-degree personality change that you could see. But friend, just let yourself make mistake. Let yourself overcome this fear. Let yourself face this type of situation where you feel uncomfortable. So let me talk about the another thing. Most of the person, they think that fluency can be learned. No, it's not a subject. English is not a subject. It's a skill. And skill has to be built. Skill cannot be learned. Skill has to be built through practices. But most of us, we believe that if I read one book, if I watch another video, if I take another classes, I would be fluent. But dear students, just try to understand fluency has to be developed. So how can fluency be developed? By doing consistent English speaking, by facing uncomfortable situation, by doing uncomfortable things. Let me give an example. When I used to create online videos, when I used to actually create YouTube videos, I was not that confident. I was not that effective person who could actually shoot videos. At that time, I thought that maybe I am not the right person for creating this type of video. I am not I don't have the skills to create videos. I had the one thought, one side, and other side, I accept that maybe I'm not good at this, but how can I become good at this? How can I become something that I don't feel uncomfortable? I feel comfortable and I feel energetic while talking to camera. So I didn't stop. I didn't give up just because I was not doing it properly. So I kept going on. I kept doing it. I kept doing it months and years. And ultimately, I found myself that I am way more comfortable in front of the camera. I am way more comfortable in front of the digital setup. And that's why today I become that. So my friends, my students, always try to understand that there is something, it's a skills. Fluency is a skills. And how can I develop that? Developing that skills is a very straightforward. Keep practicing, keep speaking, keep participating in the discussion, keep explaining yourself. Maybe you would be educated one day. Maybe you would have graduation, post-graduation, PhD degree in your hand, the certificate and everything. But what's the point of having all of these degrees, all of this status, when you can't even express yourself? Expression is one of the most important quality that we all have to learn, we all have to practice. If you observe in our country, there are so many talented, so-called talented people out there who has many talents, who has many skills, but they are not comfortable of expressing that. So if you are not able to express it, people will not recognize your talent, recognize your skill. Be confident. Develop that confidence in yourself, and then people will start recognizing you. The last thing that I want to talk about, our mission. The mission of SM Spoken English Academy. As a founder and as a trainer of this academy, I could tell you from my own experience that when we learn by reading books, by taking classes, that does not help us to become confident. That does not help us to become fluent. The only things when we actually make our student practice in different environment, in public speaking, in group discussion, in podcast, in presentation, in outdoor activities, at that time fluency comes, at that time the confidence comes. So always remember this particular point. No matter where you are right now, if you keep speaking, if you actually show up every day, if you show your courage, then nobody, literally nobody can stop you becoming a fluent and confident English speaker. So that's all for today's session. See you in the next class, and I will improve your English in 10x way.